You got one camera or multiple cameras?
Just one camera.
Talk myself like different angles.
Don't worry.
Yo,
What's going on, everybody?
wah.
Welcome to another monthly live that we're doing here with a special guest, Derek Robinson from My Red City, Design and Build. Derek, say what's up to the people, man.
Hey, what's up, folks? What's going on?
And we're jumping right in. Like you guys know, this is fast and dirty. There's no pleasantries or anything like that. We want to give you the good information in 30 minutes or less. So we got lots of stuff to cover. This time we're talking about why branding is important, especially for construction companies. A creative partner, I think I've mentioned this before, we do construction companies and helping architects and designers all the way from, home renovations to commercial and beyond. Derek, talk to us a little bit quickly about, your company. Who do you service and some of the stuff that you guys do or specialize in?
Cool. So my company is Red Design Build. Primarily, we do custom homes on a contemporary, very modern type level. Our clients are typically people who have or own a bungalow or something that's not serving their family as well as it could. We come in, tear that apart, and present them with something that fits their family, right? So today we got what most people have: 2 kids,
Yep,
a dog, a husband and a wife. So yeah, man, the 2-bedroom bungalow is just not serving its purpose anymore.
Yeah, and branding is super important when you have a business with a clear goal. You guys are serving families, home renovations in a specific area. So your brand and your brand strategy becomes important. You want to make sure that you're meeting their needs and they can recognize you and that your brand stands for something. Especially in the service-based industry like construction, people want to make sure that they're getting something that's of value and that they're seeing a return on this investment. You're dealing with not just, a $10 job. You're dealing with more of a could be 20, 40, 50, $150 million.
Multi-million, yeah, for sure.
So that's where you're dealing with people with real hard-earned money, and your brand, your name is what helps you become recognizable, that helps your reputation, and that's why branding is so important. Branding is important because it's kind of your name in the streets, where sometimes it doesn't make sense for people to know Derek Robinson, but it makes sense for them to understand My Red City.
Correct.
And that way they understand it's not just you, but there's a team of designers and developers and project managers and GCs and foremen that are all going to be working towards a common goal. So for construction industry, have you noticed tons of people who are upping up their marketing or their branding, because it's kind of getting more competitive now than it ever was before?
Absolutely. So if I'm on Instagram and I'm just scrolling through, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to see someone, an architect, a designer, maybe even a competitor of mine who's advertising their services, right? We do our Google marketing, we do our Instagram marketing. It's really today's way. That word of mouth stuff that people had relied on in the past.
Yes.
It's not going to keep you ahead anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard to forecast what's coming. It's hard to project what kind of money you're making and keep everyone employed. So we are now investing our money in marketing, digital marketing.
Yeah.
Particularly. Right?
Yeah. It's super unique. The whole industry, especially in home renovations, was built on the referrals. Do you know someone who's trustworthy? Right. And have they done something before? But now people have Pinterest boards and Instagram, and they can see the caliber of the work. And that's why for construction companies specifically, even commercial, you can showcase the caliber of your work. You're able to be, then share what you add in value, because sometimes they're not just the finished product that's the added value. Sometimes it's our project management system,
right,
our quality assurance systems,
our
process that allows us to understand your vision and convert that into reality. Because as easy and low tech as the referral system, just word of mouth system was, that was the big part. There was no real understanding of what you were getting.
Correct.
It was I'm going to throw this net out there and hopefully this man will not mess up my, $100,000 kitchen,
Right.
and not gonna rip me off, because I've heard so many stories of people that have been ripped off in retail, construction, and management, stuff like that, where you're just hoping that this right person who you found from the yellow pages is going to say what they said they were going to do. They're doing what they said they're going to do.
Right.
So even in terms of the importance of branding for construction, we're going to cover 7 different topics. Like I said, lightning fast. We're already 5 minutes into this. The first important thing that why construction companies, architects, different GCs, no matter what industry you're in, need to worry about construction is it helps people understand what makes you unique as a contractor. And some people even don't understand what that means, a contractor. Can you explain even to us the different levels of like a general contractor or someone who's specialized or a trade or a supplier or anything like that? What does that look like? There's different levels to that.
So it's true. It does get convoluted often when, I don't identify myself as a contractor, right? So we operate a construction management firm, right? So a general contractor is a guy who will represent his company, hire a bunch of trades, but takes on all the liability.
Right.
Then you have a contractor, who might be him and his buddy or him and his son or whatever.
Yep.
They'll come on in and basically do all the work with very little subbing out. We're a little bit larger, so what we do is we have a number of site supervisors, project managers who can handle and facilitate a larger scale project.
Got it.
With good connections to good sub trades, and who really know what the finished product should look like, right? So we understand the process, how to get there, and what that finish should look like. So the client who tells me, "Don't worry, man, I don't need you. I can do it on myself." Those are the guys that we laugh at, because 6 months later they call me back like, "This is all wrong. Some of these guys just keep messing up. They don't show up. Blah 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 blah." Right? So that's our niche.
And a lot of people confuse the notion of, well, a general contractor is just subbing out, getting subcontractors in here. I can do that.
Right.
But it does require a real level of detail and understanding how these things work, especially if you've never done a project before. This is where your expertise, your brand can help explain, say, listen, you don't know what you don't even know yet.
Correct.
And so you might want to do your plumbing and electrical before you've done your framing, and that's backwards.
Right.
And you need to schedule things in an appropriate way and understand what timelines are. And that's why the different levels or the different types of quote unquote contractors matters, because you might be speaking to a different audience if you're a handyman,
right,
all the way to a large scale, how did you call it? A project management firm?
Project management, construction management. Exactly.
Yeah. So from all those different vantage points, your brand can be leveraged to speak to people in a specific way. Because if I'm just a mom and pop, just dad and son, and we're just hanging drywall and doing some general construction, nothing really specialized, that's a different approach compared to, or who you want to talk to and reach with your brand, compared to somebody who is speaking to the end client because they have management and tools for accountability and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
That's a very different thing. The second thing I want to touch on, branding gives you a way to grow in order to reach your goals. So even for your business goals, you want to have a positive reputation in the industry. So if you want to reach your goals, whether they're awards, whether it's revenue based, having a clear goal and working backwards and say, okay, your brand is actually going to help you speak to the right people, be in the right spaces, because the worst thing you can do is show up somewhere that's, a little bit above your pay grade, and then you can't handle yourself.
Correct.
You hand out your business card or you send somebody to your website and it's a bad experience.
Right.
Now that opportunity, you were invited to a room that you normally would not be in, is now wasted because the branding assets were not able to help support you. And when I talk about brand and branding assets and marketing, all this kind of stuff, these things are just tools. The same way that you have a hammer or a drill, you have to still use them. You still have to carry them with you. You
Right.
still have to maintain them. Otherwise, you're going to lose those type of skills. That's number 2. We're going to keep moving. Number 3, building a construction company brand helps you build relationships with consumers, manufacturers, suppliers, and employees.
Right.
So even internally, what are some of the values or things that are really important for your company, Derek, that are like, this is what we believe in, this is what we stand for, with it people first, customer satisfaction, whatever type of thing it might be,
Right.
that you guys might talk about internally. Let's say when you're hiring a new designer or hiring a project manager,
Right.
how do they know what vibe you are? Are you like fast and loose? Are you, this is a question I use a lot in interviews when I interview somebody. Would you rather the project be on time but not up to spec? Or would you rather be on spec but late?
Number 2, option 2, man. Option 2 all day. We're in a segment where there are other construction management firms. What sets us apart is our attention to detail, right?
Nice.
So what I talk to my guys about all the time is accuracy, right? So I don't care, an inch off is not accurate.
Yep.
It's got to be bang on, whatever it takes to get there. But you want to get there from the early stages, not have to move something after drywall or after tiling or whatever, right? It's like, do it when the opportunity is right.
Yep.
And make sure you're as accurate as possible. We have detailed drawings. We make sure that the drawings that come from our partners, our vendors, our designers, etc., are as detailed as possible so that we can get the information we need. I spent 3 hours today going through a lighting design of a basement of a new build that we're doing. 3 hours, right? So it wasn't just send the electrician there and tell him to wire the place.
Right.
It was an intense designer involved collaboration to make sure that all the details, all the LED lighting, all the cove lighting, all the the placement of the dishwashers, placement of the under counter fridges for the bar, LED backlit mirrors and stuff like that were accurate, because when it's done and that light is off by 3 inches or whatever, it's like, yo, doesn't matter how spectacular everything else is. You see that,
it'll stand
like,
out.
Yeah, okay, who did this?
Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
We don't.
And you mentioned even your suppliers and manufacturers. Your reputation, your brand is also leveraged in those relationships as well.
Yep.
Like, you don't want to be in a situation where manufacturers don't want to work with you, suppliers don't want to pick up your phone calls.
Right.
Now your brand is known for something else other than what you want it to be, whether it's customer satisfaction, accuracy, attention to details. If those are the things that I think every construction company should value, if those are the things that you are valuing and that you are prioritizing as important for the success of your business, then I would say it has to go internal, and then it spills out external. And then that way you have a reputation not just with suppliers, but also with customers and people that are gladly going to help spread the good word that you're doing and good work that you're completing. As well, you supplement that with your marketing. Number 4 is branding creates an emotional connection with your audience, and this is huge. I remember the first few conversations we had together, and full disclosure, we're designing Derek's website. You mentioned saying, I cater, or I speak to the wife of the home. To the mother of the home, because they're the ones who are going to help leverage the pocketbook of the husband when they're doing a whole full-scale remodel. He's like, so it's very important to see Derek's face on some of the branding and some of the social media posts that he does. You see him in some of the videos and stories where he's showing some of the work. So people begin to build a rapport with, okay, I understand the reputation of My Red City, but I also know the man behind it. Okay, this guy Derek, I know I can probably get a hold of, or I can call his team, or if when I'm going to go do a sales meeting, he's going to be there. All those different things, that speaks volume to making a connection with your audience themselves, an emotional connection that goes just beyond a logo, but it goes with your personality as well.
Absolutely, right. Yeah. So to your point, as much as I can, I represent the brand. I like to involve my team wherever possible. But just as Bart's saying, when I go to that sales meeting, people are happy to see the person that they saw on social media. It's like, oh yeah, I remember you, or remember when your daughter did this, or what, whatever
100%.
kind of little thing. There's a connection there, right? So I always try to leverage that.
Yeah, definitely. And the type of message you want to send, this is where some of the marketing stuff comes in, not just branding. So if you understand who you're speaking to now, you can tailor the messaging appropriately.
Correct.
Now you can be like, okay, this is who the audience is. I'm speaking in a way that's going to make them feel comfortable, make them feel appreciated, make them understand that I will walk them through the process, show them the accountability stuff. Because if they are, let's say, initially reaching out to you and you haven't maybe met the husband and the wife together, they're going to do a lot of the work for you. Mm-hmm. They're going to be able to go back and say, look at this, and it's not just the money, but look at the check and balances that they have, look at the accountability and the quality assurance, right, and look at the work they've already completed. They have a portfolio, all these different things. A strong brand is important to allow companies to stand out from competition. A lot of I get this. I'm a web designer. A lot of my business comes from people who are disgruntled from another web designer. They're like, that person ghosted me. Yep. I never heard from them again, and they did 1, 2 things, and then they took the money and they dipped. Yep. And I feel like that's similar in a lot of service industries, especially construction, where they started the project, they didn't feel that went viral just the other day on Instagram. I saw this guy who was owed money, and he came back to the house because he had a key, and he mashed up the bathroom he just built, and then he dipped. He just broke up everything he did. He was like, you know what? You guys are not treating me fair, and you don't know who you're going to get in your home. So like I say, your reputation, your brand, and the marketing approach that you take with it is very important.
Yeah, that's true.
Number 5, building your brand helps you create a voice that separates you from other contractors. Right. So what would you say is unique about My Red City compared to other contractors or GC firms?
Well, firstly, the diversity that we offer. So the team, I'm second generation Jamaican. Our business manager Jerome is Trinidadian.
Trinity.
We got Nikita, we got Mo, we got Nelson from Cuba. Like it's a very diverse group. So it's not your typical European kind of situation. No disrespect to those who are of that descent, but I'm just letting you know
they've made a name for themselves as like construction worker, Middle Eastern European, and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not often you see a full-fledged construction company at this level where it's this diverse. You're my only client like that. Most of the people are white.
We're one of few.
Yes.
Right. So off the hop, that sets us apart from many of the others. And to be honest with you, a lot of the clients that we've gained over the last year or two, through COVID and post COVID, I think have hired us for that reason. Right. It's like, this is refreshing. This is different. I'm willing to take a chance here, and hope that you guys, do as good as you say you're going to do. Mm-hmm. And as far as I'm aware, with the reviews and stuff that we get now, some published, some not, people are happy with our work and our approach, which is completely different than the approach of others. We all come from a very educated background. I was a project manager in my previous career. Jerome was a very, very qualified executive. So we bring these things together. Nikita being a designer, mm-hmm. Bring all this together. We have a lot to offer our clients.
Yeah,
right. So
that's huge, and you want to keep those people happy, which is like the next point here. Number 6, your brand builds trust and loyalty over time with prospects and customers. If you do your job right, your industry is one of the industries where you can have customers for life.
True.
It starts off with the main floor. Then it starts off, we're going to redo the basement and we're going to do the whole thing. Or we have now a cottage up north, come help us. And you can have loyal customers if you treat them well and you leverage the values that you set out in front of you for your brand. And I know this is not necessarily the most technical conversation we've had. We talk very technical about marketing a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. But if you've never gone through a brand strategy before, this is why you need a brand strategy. Because you have to know yourself before you can leverage who you are to help get you more business. So you have to know, okay, I'm intentionally going to be multicultural and diverse. I'm intentionally going to look for accuracy and quality assurance. I'm intentional about how we make everything transparent with our project management tools so that people can see the progress and status of what's happening. Those things come with intentionality. And, it's like the old adage saying, no plan is a sure plan to fail. So you have to plan what your brand is going to be, how it's going to sound, how it's going to speak, what is it going to look like. And it sounds almost crazy because it's not a person, it's a thing, it's an object.
Right.
But those are the difference between a company that looks like they're a multi-million dollar company and a company that probably makes millions and looks like they make $10 a day is because they've clarified who they are, which makes it easier for them to then speak about it and say it to other people.
Right.
That's the difference of clear and ethical branding. It helps people understand who they are and what's their place in that industry.
Right.
So when we're talking about loyalty for customers and the longevity of a relationship, how does that look like for you guys? I know some people, they give like real estate agents and construction workers, they give gifts, they keep in constant contact, they, send out Christmas cards or whatever it is. What does that look like for you and your company and your brand that is like, here's how we treat our customers well?
Right. So Father's Day, Christmas, sometimes Valentine's Day, depending on what's happening. We'll often drop off a little gift just with thinking of you. Thank you for being with us years ago or months ago or even right now, depending on who it is and what the situation is.
Yeah.
I'm actually friends with every one of my past clients, right? So I might just give them a shout. Hey, I was in the neighborhood, just drove by the house, it still looks good. Or, you might want to sand your deck or whatever, you know what I mean? But, so, I live in the area that I work, so I can drive by something intentionally or non-intentionally.
Yeah.
Just to see what's going on and say what's up.
100%. And those are the connections that you make for life, is because you've put in the work and you are a practitioner, right? Like, there's some people who just talk the talk and there's people who walk the walk.
Sure.
So like you mentioned, you live in the neighborhood that you serve. So it's much easier for you to leverage that into a place that is more organic and natural. People only want to buy from who they like. I've said it multiple times. So if you're not likable, then that means you're probably going to have a hard time making genuine connection. It doesn't mean you won't make money. It just means you're going to have a harder time with a lot of the stuff we're talking about today, which is like the relationship aspect of a brand and why your personality matters. I think the more you leverage who you are naturally and you put that into your brand, you're going to see better results because of it. That's just how growth works. And what we're talking about here is, especially with the loyalty, this is where real growth happens. And I'm sure this is what happens. It's true in my industry, in web design, and it's true in Derek's industry as well. You will make a big dollar sign project, let's just say $50,000 worth of, let's say, profit off of an initial project. But if you treat them poorly, or you don't dot your I's and cross your T's and showcase the good customer service, that will be a one-time thing.
True.
If you then say, I will treat your job extremely well, I will leverage the values of our brands and the personality of our brand with our interaction, that one thing can then turn into 10 other projects through referrals or through, themselves. And that's the difference. When you have a good client who you've treated well, you will see that person makes you money.
Sure.
That initial investment of, okay, before we bring the client to come see, that light fixture is actually 3 inches off. Let's go back and fix it and repatch everything up, make it look spick and span and proper. That way, when you bring them in and they're like, wow, I have no feedback.
Right. Other than positive, it looks great.
It looks great.
Yeah.
My feedback is you did it.
True.
What you said you did.
Yep.
Now that becomes an investment. And you never know. They'll have a neighbor who'll come by for a party and they'll be like, wow, the bar looks great. How'd you do this? And that's where the residual income just continues to come in. Okay. we're at the end here. Number 7, we live in a very digital age, like you were saying. You used to do a lot of traditional marketing. Now you've converted to a lot of digital.
Right.
You're on social media. You're in magazines. What does social media or digital marketing look for MyRes City now? Like, what do you guys do? Which I think probably a lot of people are doing or starting to. I know some of the people are at that age where they're retiring, especially the person who redid my mom's basement is European. He's like a 65-year-old, Italian man. And
He's done.
he's done. I don't think if I can sell him a website or a social media contract because he'd be like, I've made it 40 years without needing this.
True.
What else? He's living off of the fruit of the referrals and good feedback and all that stuff. He doesn't have a Google review account, nothing like that, but he's busy all the time.
Right.
He'll retire never having to do that. You're much younger, and I'm sure you're building this more than just for yourself, for your kids and your kids' kids.
Right.
So what does that look like for social media, and how does it help leverage your company?
Well, social media gives you an opportunity to, first of all, display how active you are, right? So it's one thing. I had a client, a new client, who I had brought him to a property a couple years ago, and then when we went to sign the contract, he's like, "Can I get a referral?" I'm like, "Sure, man, I can give you a referral. I just want to make sure that you actually built that property that you said you did."
Right.
It was like, so social media, as you're going through the project and you're showing footings and foundation, you're showing framing and roofing and all these different phases, and you can talk to certain aspects of the project. Like, look, this is why we're doing this. This goes back to our core values and all of that. As a homeowner looking in, it's like, yo, this guy does that, but my friend's builder didn't do that.
Right.
You're already making decisions before. I can't wait. When I buy my land or buy my property, I'm gonna call that guy.
Yes.
Right. And we get those calls. I get those DMs or whatever on in Instagram, where someone's like, "I've been following you for a while. Now I have the opportunity to do something, and I'd like you to be the person to build my project."
100%. And that's like full circle. We talked about, why having a personalized brand for your construction company is so important is for that very reason, where people can now visualize their life with you in it,
Right.
with you as the project manager helping them fulfill their dreams and their goals. Ultimately, the short answer is, you want satisfied customers. You want to have repeatable processes that get you people that are happy. I think it comes down to the values you set behind your brand, the messaging, the tone, and the strategy that leverages your marketing as well. So this is. I told you it goes fast. Okay, it's 30 minutes.
That was 30 minutes already?
That was
Wow,
it.
okay.
So the best thing I can share with you guys, if you want to get an in-depth understanding of what your branding could be and what the strategy should be to leverage your relationships at scale, because no matter what, like I mentioned already, business and marketing is all about human connection and interactions. So your brand helps you have that at scale. Where I can't be, sometimes the brand can be.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to talk about and do today. Hit us up, creativepartner.ca. Derek, where can people find you? Where can people look you up to see some of the work you guys are doing?
Instagram, My Red City. Also Instagram, Derek the Builder.
There you go.
That's where we're at.
Okay, that's it. It's 1:29. Peace out. Hope you had a good lunch. Bye.